What is up, guys? Winter Kills here. Welcome back to a brand new deck profile, this time around for Photon Galaxy. You guys might have seen the recent test hand video I did for this deck. If you want to check that out, it should be annotated up in the top right or at the end of the video in the last 20 seconds. But yeah, this deck has gotten some support from Dual Overload, mainly Union Carrier, and has changed the way the deck is played a bit, especially, to note, Master Rule 2020, Master Rule 5, whatever you want to call it, drastically changes the way this deck can be played, not needing to rely on Link monsters. With a majority extra deck of all Xyz monsters, the deck gets a little bit easier to play and a little bit better overall. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into this deck profile. But first, of course, a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist, creator and provider of this lovely playmat you see me using here. The Ultimate Brawl playmat, crossover between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Smash Brothers Ultimate. You can see here on the reverse side some characters on the Final Destination stage, all taking on that of the giant hand. If you play the game, you'll get the reference, but this mat absolutely looks gorgeous. Feels great. The material it's made out of is so nice. And if you guys want to pick up one of their new deck boxes, you can. Has a dice tray in the bottom, and of course plenty of room in the top to fit main, extra, and side deck. And if you want to get on any of their amazing sleeves, they have a buy two get one sale going on for their tournament ready non-effect armor sleeves. Some of the best sleeves hands down on the market, and you can get all for 10% off with my discount code WinterKills10 off at checkout. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, do not forget to use my affiliate link down in the description below. At no cost to you guys. You can help support the channel just by shopping on TCG Player using that link. You'll find it at the description of all my videos. And last but not least, consider becoming a channel member to get in on some exclusive perks and rewards. So let's go ahead and get into the deck profile here. You guys know how this works, starting off with a quick rundown of the deck, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about basically the roles of all the cards within the deck. So to start, we have 3 copies of Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon, then 3 copies of Galaxy Knight. Following that, we have 3 copies of Galaxy Brave. That's it for the level 8 monsters. And then we have 3 copies of the Galaxy Soldier, 3 copies of the very unfortunately expensive Photon Orbital, 3 copies of Photon Banisher, 1 copy of Photon Thrasher, 1 copy of Galaxy Wizard, and then 2 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. These could be exchanged with any light hand trap of your choosing. Moving forward, we have our spell lineup here, which starts with 3 copies of Tradon, 3 copies of Galaxy Expedition, 3 copies of Photon Sanctuary, aka Union Carrier, 2 copies of Pot of Desires, 1 copy of Monster Reborn, 1 copy of Pot of Avarice, 1 copy of Reinforcing the Army, 1 Galaxy Trance, 1 Upstart Goblin. That rounds out the spells. And last but not least, for our traps, we have 2 copies of Tachyon Transmigration. Wish it was Galaxy Transmigration, but yeah, that is it for the full 40 card main deck. Now we're going to run into the extra deck real quick, where we have 3 copies of Galaxy Eye Soulflare Dragon. Still debating on whether or not one of these should become the Boojin Link, but for now 3 Soulflare is just fine. 1 copy of Union Carrier, 2 copies of number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, 1 number 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy, 1 number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, 1 number 62 Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon, 1 Galaxy Eyes Cypher Blade Dragon, 1 Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon, 1 Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, 1 Cyber Dragon Infinity, 1 Cyber Dragon Nova, and 1 Star Liege Photon Blast Dragon to round out the extra deck. Now, a few things I want to mention about the extra deck before we move forward into the breakdown is that, yes, you could also play the number 87 Drag Lubion in here. I feel like that card will be a little bit more worthwhile to play once we get the Galaxy Eyes Afterglow Dragon released here in the TCG. So right now, currently opting not to play it, just to stick with the 3 Soul Flares, because you do run through those pretty fast. So yeah, now we're going to go ahead and talk about all the card roles within the deck. Alright, so here we have laid out our starter cards for the deck, and now if you guys have watched any of my deck profiles before, you know that there are some cards that can cross between roles within the deck. So some cards you see here that I would label as starter cards could also be labeled as extenders in some other way, shape, or form. So of course, starting with Galaxy Soldier, basically can special summon itself by discarding any late monster, and then upon special summoning, can search a Galaxy monster from deck to our hand. So it has a very easy activation requirement, which is a good prerequisite to be a starter card in the first place, and of course does help get our engine going, by setting up our graveyard with cards like could be Galaxy Knight to add back later off of Soul Flare, or setting up a Galaxy Knight by being able to discard something like Galaxy Eyes to the graveyard, and it gets a body on board to help resolve other effects like Photon Vanisher and Orbital. Helps make Cyber Dragon Infinity, helps search out key cards in the deck. Card does numerous things for the deck. Fantastic, 3 of 100%. Then we have Galaxy Wizard. I'm only playing 1 copy because our main normal summon within the deck is Galaxy Knight, which I'm also playing 3 copies of in the main deck also. And I don't really want to play more than 4 normal summons within the deck because I feel that's a good number to sort of hover around for a deck like this. But Galaxy Wizard can come in clutch sometimes on, less optimal hands and make them a bit better because he simply can be normal summoned to modify his level to either level 8 to make a card like Galaxy Expedition live. And you can also normal summon himself and then tribute away to search any Galaxy card. So can search Soldier, can search Galaxy Eyes himself, can search the Galaxy Knight, can search Galaxy Expedition, can search a whole, wide range of cards. So it is a really versatile card to have within the deck, and I think at least playing 1 copy is alright. Photon Thrasher is an amazing starter card within this deck. It basically unlocks a lot of cards within the deck, really important cards like Photon Vanisher and Photon Orbital, because in order to activate those cards, you do need a Photon or Galaxy monster already in play, and Thrasher does that job very well. While you control no monsters, just being able to special summon them outright. Now, we have 3 trade in here. Draw power, of course, anytime you have draw power can be considered a starter card. Of course, depending on how easy the activation requirement is. We do play 9 level 8 monsters in this deck and tons of ways to search them. So trade-in is a no-brainer, setting up the graveyard and also allowing us to see more cards, allowing us to set up our engine. In general, classifying as a starter card 100%. Photon Sanctuary. This is a card I wouldn't have considered really a starter card before Union Carrier's inception, but now that this card can turn itself into Union Carrier and with it Photon Orbital to get us any search of a Photon or Galaxy monster, this card hands down is a great card to begin turns with and to get our engine going, and has an extremely easy activation requirement. The only obstacle it has is it locks us into light monsters, so I mean it's not really an obstacle for my build, particularly because the extra deck is filled with all light monsters, and Union Carrier, lo and behold, is a light monster, so this card is fantastic. Then we have 2 Pot of Desires, simply allowing us to see more cards, more chances at being able to get our engine going, so of course Desires. Then the 1 Rhoda, because it's basically another copy of Thrasher, but can also, if need be, turn into a copy of Vanisher, which is a great, very versatile card. So that is going to round up for the starter cards here. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at superior extenders, where you may see some cards from the starter card category within there, because again, some cards can cross between roles. That just helps to add to the overall versatility of our deck overall. Alright, so here we have laid out the superior extenders for this deck. So basically, these cards serve the purpose of adding on to the plays that our starter cards make, making our plays more powerful overall, while still being somewhat easy to activate. Again, some of these cards could be considered starter cards, mainly Galaxy Brave, because he gets himself on board by revealing a Photon monster in the hand, and then special summoning the field, and then he copies the level of whatever Photon monster you revealed. So if you had Brave and Orbital in your hand, you could use Brave to reveal Orbital, and Brave would summon itself, hit the board as a level 4, and then have the opportunity to copy the attack and defense of a Galaxy monster in a graveyard. That effect doesn't come up all the time, but it is an effect nonetheless. So basically, Galaxy Brave can be a starter card in his own right, but I'm strictly labeling him here as a superior extender. He's really walking the line between superior extender and a starter card, but ultimately this card's main purpose is to give you access to get a body on board to make cards like Orbital and Vanisher live, and if need be can even make Galaxy Expedition live if you are revealing a card like Galaxy Eyes in your hand also. But this card, absolutely fantastic for the deck, strictly because of that reason. He can get himself on the board very easily to make some of your best cards in the deck live immediately, and is also a level 8 for a trade-in target. And I'm also opting to play 3, of course, because I'm playing Desires. And then next up, who could forget, of course, the Photon Orbital. This card is amazing. Basically, during your main phase, you can target a Photon or a Galaxy monster you control, equip this card from your hand or field to it, gains 500 attack, and also cannot be destroyed by battle. But then the best part of it says you can send this equipped card to the graveyard to add a Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand except itself. So this is why Union Carrier is so valuable within this deck, is because your ability to equip Orbital to it directly from the deck, thus giving you instant access to more and better cards within your deck. This card strictly only serves the purpose to go retrieve other cards within the deck. That's why I'm labeling it as an extender. This card really does nothing on its own as a starter card. I mean, I guess if you're opening something like Thrasher with this card, you know, it could be considered a starter card, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, I would consider this card an extender because you're going to use cards that will go get this card. Mainly, the only card that searches this Photon monster is number 90 or Union Carrier, so you do have to go into the extra deck to get access to the card. It is easy to activate once it's equipped, but getting access to it, of course, will take some more setup, so that's why I'm labeling it as a superior extender. Then Photon Vanisher can hit the board, basically while you control a Photon or Galaxy monster, and when special summon, can search Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, and that's really about it. He doesn't have another effect while he's attached to an Xyz monster, but that effect really not too relevant. But searching, mainly one of the best cards in your deck, the main engine requirement, Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon itself, but also hits the board and is a body to make rank 4s with, and also link material, so a great card to have as an extender. Galaxy Expedition, it's been one of the best extenders in the deck since day one. If you control a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster, you can special summon a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck. In defense position, you can only use one per turn, but you do want to see this card as soon as possible, and I'm also playing Desire, so hence the 3 of. Card's incredible, helps complete rank 5s and rank 8 plays, couldn't ask for a better card. And then Monster Reborn is Monster Reborn. It's a better Galaxy Trance, gets more extenders on the board to work with for either link material or completing Xyz plays, so card is absolutely fantastic. And then, as I mentioned with the starter cards, some of the starter cards themselves could be considered superior extenders. Cards like Soldier and cards like Sanctuary could also be considered extenders as well. But yeah, so now we're going to move on to additional extenders, and then from there into defensive cards and things like that. Alright, so here we have laid out our additional extenders for the deck. These cards are a lot harder to meet their activation requirements for them, or have a much heftier activation requirement, but they do increase the overall power ceiling of the deck, but don't really lend too much to consistency, for the most part anyways. And we have fewer of these than, of course, you saw than the superior extenders, because seeing too many of these cards will just add to worse off hands. But Galaxy Knight, of course, the heart and soul, the main normal summon of the deck. You can normal summon it without tributing while you control a Photon or Galaxy monster. So again, that goes back to talking about the importance of getting Photon or Galaxy monsters on the board without exhausting your normal summon, because those special summons will make this card live, it'll make Vanisher and Orbit alive as well. So once it hits the board, though, you can basically revive a Photon or Galaxy monster from your graveyard. It'll lose 1,000 attack regardless if you're normal summoning it without tributing. Then you summon out Galaxy Eyes in defense, and then from there you basically just complete a rank 8 play. So this card is nuts in the sense that it's just a 1-card rank 8. It does take a bit of setup. You do have to work basically around getting Galaxy Eyes to the grave, but also having a Photon or Galaxy monster on board to be able to get that normal summon of this card to go through. Then Galaxy Trance. This card, fantastic. I think it's a better turn 3 card than anything. It is a much harder to activate Monster Reborn. The turn you activate, you're locked into special summoning and I believe normal summoning Photon or Galaxy monsters. So no Infinity, no Union Carrier, no things like that. No Bujin Link if you're playing it, no Drag Lubion play if you're playing it. So yeah, you do have to be mindful when you play this card. You also have to pay 2,000 life. You also need a Photon Engrave, and then a Galaxy monster in deck with a matching level. So it does take a lot of setup, but it is a fantastic power card nonetheless. And then the newest addition to the deck, Pot of Avarice. Playing this card, I would not play it at any more than 1, even though the new ban list says we can play 3. Drawing multiple of these is going to be an absolute nightmare. Sure, I mean, if you have multiple late game, you can use multiple in a turn, but that's just unrealistic. You do have sometimes the tendency to grind with this deck because it is a very grindy and defensive heavy deck. A lot of the defense coming out within the extra deck, setting up easily 3+ interruption boards, and sometimes having a bit of a harder time to OTK, so sometimes games can grind on a bit longer. But Avarice, in my opinion, is taking the place of Galaxy Cleric, which has a similar effect, where it can shuffle 5 Photon or Galaxy monsters in the deck and then draw 2. This card doesn't take up my normal summon, hence why I'm playing it over Cleric. Yes, Cleric is searchable, but most of the time you're going to have to use your number 90 search to get it, because at no point during your main combo are you going to want to search Cleric, so I'd rather use number 90 to search something like Galaxy Eyes to make Soul Flare live, as opposed to searching something like Cleric for a greedy overextension play for the following turn. Alright, so here we have the remaining 3 categories for the deck. We have our engine requirements, our placeholder cards, and our defensive cards. We'll start with the engine requirement. Of course, Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon is basically what makes this deck work. A lot of your cards will revolve around this card, mainly, you know, Photon Vanisher, Galaxy Knight, and Galaxy Eyes Soulflare Dragon. Some of the better cards in your deck. A lot of cards require you to be able to summon these level 8 monsters either from the grave or Photon monsters from the grave, and then a matching level from deck. It's a level 8. It's a light monster. Absolutely fantastic. You do have to max out on this card regardless of what anybody tells you. This card is the heart and soul of the deck. You do have to play 3. It really serves no other purpose, though, than to be, you know, discarded off of, you know, Soldier, searched off Vanisher, or revived off Knight, or discarded off Soulflare, because you can use Soulflare's effect to destroy especially when a monster during the opponent's main phase. You can discard either 2 Photon or Galaxy cards, or discard just one of these. So that's why having this card is very important, and having it in the right place at the right time is also very important. Upstart Goblin. This card lends itself to only 1 roll, and that is to lower the deck count below 40 to make our deck more consistent, and is basically as consistent as we can make it. And then, what good is a deck without some defensive cards? If we had the Afterglow Dragon, I would be cutting the Ghost Ogres for the Afterglow Dragons 100%. But I do like playing some hand traps within this deck, preferably light hand traps, because these cards can be discarded off of Galaxy Soldier, which lends itself to being more versatile. So if we need this to act as a discard outlet or discard target, we can, or we can keep it in our hand to add to the overall defensiveness of our boards. And then, of course, Tachyon Transmigration. This card is insane. I wish it was searchable, but it's just an amazing card. Basically, those that don't know what it does, if you control a Galaxy Eyes monster, negate the activations of your opponent's spell trap cards and monster effects activated before this card in this chain. And if you do, shuffle the negated cards in the field into the deck. So this card can negate an entire chain link if you have that set up. And if you control Galaxy Eyes Tachyon monster, you can activate it from your hand. So that does come up once in a blue moon, but yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. This card you could play at 3, but I like it at 2 just so it doesn't brick too much, because I don't want to see multiples. It's only good seeing multiples if the rest of your hand is good, but you know, it does make bad hands worse. So that's it for the whole main deck breakdown. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about side decking here. So we do have a few slots within the side deck, side in some preferably going second cards. This is mainly a going first deck. So it really doesn't need too much help with going first. Arguably, you could side in Call by the Grave or even main deck Call by the Grave in here, and I'd probably drop the Ghost Ogres or the Effect Veilers or whatever hand trap you end up playing. But Ghost Ogre could easily be sided out. Same could be said with the Galaxy Trance, the Pot of Avarice. You could also go as far as to say to side out 1 Galaxy Brave, because having multiple of these game 2 or 3 probably isn't necessary. You could also side out the Wizard. I've always sided out Wizard plenty of times. You could also probably side out a Trade-in, but I wouldn't recommend really siding out too much draw power unless you're siding out more rank or level 8 monsters. You could easily side out Monster Reborn also. So as it stands, about 7 cards here that I would side out. Again, I would keep in all the draw power that you can, because we still want our deck to be as consistent as it was going into Game 1, you know, going into Games 2 and 3. But my side deck, I'll put up a mock side deck on the screen here if I can remember to do so in post. But yeah, that's going to pretty much do it for this deck profile. Let me know what you guys think still about these styles of deck profiles. Do you guys want to see me talk about side decking options at the end? Or do you just want to see the main deck breakdown? Or yeah, just let me know what you guys think. Always looking for feedback to improve these videos. Recently I stopped talking about extra deck stuff, but it's all pretty self-explanatory. I think at the end of the day, why certain cards are played within the extra deck. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Some feedback would be great, as per usual. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, don't forget to check out Imperium Duelist or my affiliate link to TCG Player down in the description below. And also consider hitting that join button as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate all the support. And as always, we're going to kill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one.